Die, you bloody zombies! Welcome back to Quick Compare. Today we are looking at Resident Evil Code Veronica and Code Veronica X on Dreamcast and PlayStation 2. Now, this is a long-standing request from my buddy Hoshka, so Hosh, I finally got to it, man. We got it. It's done. Here it is. But anyways, Resident Evil Code Veronica came out in 2000 on Dreamcast, and then a year later it came out on PS2 in an enhanced version. Enhanced. There are some trade-offs between each versions of the game. The Dreamcast version runs in 480p, looks really crisp, looks really great in motion, whereas the PS2 version runs in 480i, employs some weird motion blur effects going on, and it just doesn't look as good in motion to me. On the other hand, the PS2 version does have all the expanded Wesker cutscenes, and just flushes out the story a lot more, and there's a lot of cool little tidbits added in these cutscenes, and it's just really cool to see. Outside of these cutscenes, there's actually very minute differences between the Dreamcast and PS2 versions of Code Veronica. The opening video has been changed between both versions. The Dreamcast version, I admit, is a bit spoilery, whereas the PS2 version is not. In-game cutscenes play out differently between the two versions, with the PS2 version using more dynamic camera angles, whereas the Dreamcast version would feature closer shots at some points. Even during gameplay, the camera changes at different places in some scenes. Another interesting graphical difference between the two versions of the game is that the PS2 version actually seems to feature enhanced draw distances. There's a number of areas on the Dreamcast version where the fog is just super thick, whereas on PS2 you could see a little bit further into the distance. Not too big of a difference, honestly, but it is worth noting. Lighting has also been redone in the PS2 version. A lot of scenes actually seem a little bit brighter, especially in cutscenes, but at the same time, the lighting is a lot more dynamic. It's an interesting trade-off, and kind of the opposite of what we see from normal Dreamcast ports to other systems. Probably one of the most obvious differences between both versions of the game is Steve's hair. I mean, he went from looking like total douche clown to less of a douche clown, but no, he's still a douche clown. Sorry, Steve. One area of change that I found interesting to research is the fact that the PS2 version is supposed to come with the battle mode unlocked by default, but on my PS2 version, I have one of the original Black Label versions. It does not come unlocked by default, whereas a lot of my research says that it is supposed to be unlocked. So I find that fascinating. So after you beat the game, you unlock the battle mode where you can unlock a bunch of different bonuses, and you can also play in first-person mode. It's a really interesting gameplay mechanic. But again, my version is not unlocked by default, so I'm not sure which versions were, but I just thought that was worth mentioning. On the audio front, both versions of the game are practically identical. Like, I don't even notice when it changes between transitions in my side-by-side if I'm not paying attention to the border.
Perfect. Go on. Get out of here. This place is finished. I don't know, it might have been a special forces team. But in any case, this prison's been taken over.
Both the Dreamcast and PS2 used optical discs, so they both have very high-fidelity audio. It's awesome. Another interesting area of difference just comes down to load times. So whether you're playing on Dreamcast or PS2, it alternates between which one loads faster. It's hilarious. For me, opening doors on the Dreamcast version goes much quicker than on the PS2 version, but on the PS2 version, opening up your inventory goes much quicker than the Dreamcast version. I don't know. Weird. Unfortunately for the PS2, anything involving the memory card is going to take considerably longer compared to accessing the VMU on the Dreamcast. So to save your game initially, it takes about a minute on PS2 versus about 10 seconds on Dreamcast. It was absolutely nuts. Moving on to price, this one is actually pretty interesting. So the PS2 version of the game can easily be found for $10 complete in box, both greatest hits and Black Label versions, so very easy to source a copy of Code Veronica X on PS2. Over on Dreamcast, the pricing actually isn't as bad as other Dreamcast games. Typically, you'll see this game for around $30 complete, but there have been a number of times where I've been able to see copies of this game for as low as $10 as well. Usually on average, I find it around $20 complete. But now let's go ahead and call our winner, and I'm going to give it to the PS2 version just because of the added story elements to the game. Having Wesker's story expanded upon makes the game that much better to me despite some of the graphical limitations. Now that being said, if you have a modded PS2, you can actually force the game to run in 480p and it looks stunning. It still unfortunately has that motion blur effects going on, but at least it cleans up the presentation, makes it sharp and on par with Dreamcast. But that does it for this week's Quick Compare. What do you guys think? What do you think about Code Veronica on Dreamcast versus PS2? Which version do you like more? Which version have you put more time into? And what do you think about it compared to the HD version that came out on PS3 and 360? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Quick Compare. I can't do this show without you guys, your requests, your comments, your overall support. Thank you all so very much. So, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button, dislike button, just depending on how much you like today's episode. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that sub button and ring that notification bell. And if you'd like to further help support the channel, you can always click that join button here on YouTube or check out my Patreon link in the description below. Patreon has been updated to include a number of bonuses, including votes on what episode of Quick Compare we will be doing in the coming weeks. As always, I'm just grateful for your consideration. But that's enough out of me. Let's go ahead and get to the side-by-side of Code Veronica running on Sega Dreamcast and PlayStation 2.
Resident Evil. The American Midwestern town, Raccoon City, has been completely decimated due to the T-virus outbreak that was instigated by the international corporation Umbrella. Claire Redfield, who arrived in Raccoon City to search for her lost brother Chris, and a rookie police officer, Leon S. Kennedy, managed to escape from the city. But their ordeal was only a prelude of things coming. 3 months later.
Your identification number is WKD4496. Welcome to your new home.
Her name is Claire Redfield. We caught her trespassing in our Paris lab facility 10 days ago. She apparently infiltrated the complex looking for her lost brother, Chris Redfield, one of the surviving members of RPD's famous STARS teams. Don't move. Perfect. Go on. Get out of here. This place is finished. I don't know, it might have been a special forces team. But in any case, this prison's been taken over. The troops have been wiped out.
What are you saying?
You're free to leave the complex. But you may as well know you have no chance of getting off this island.
And what about you? What are you going to do?
Don't worry about me.
Don't shoot!
Who are you?
Huh? You're not a zombie. Well, great. Wait right there. I'm coming over. Sorry about that little misunderstanding, but I thought you were another one of those monsters.
Shut up. Make one wrong move and I'll shoot.
Relax, beautiful. I said I was sorry. My name's Steve. I was a prisoner on this island. And I'm guessing you're not from Umbrella either.
No, I'm Claire. Claire Redfield.
Claire. Nice. I'll remember that. Hey, I heard there's an airport around here. And once I find it, I can finally escape from this crazy island. I'll see ya.
Hey, wait up!
I don't want you following me, lady. You'll only slow me down.
Please deposit any metallic items you have in the security box.
Chris Redfield.
What are you doing here?
Chris Redfield. Is he a relative of yours or something?
You mean my brother?
Ah, your siblings. Well, it seems your brother is under surveillance by Umbrella.
What? I've got to contact Leon and tell him to let my brother know he's being monitored. It's a good thing I have access to an outside connection from here.
Well, that file shows the latitude and longitude of this place. Why don't you send your brother the coordinates and ask him to come help?
Thanks, I'll do that.
Hey, I was just kidding. There's no way he could get here, even if he is your brother.
Yes, he can, I'm sure of it.
No way. He won't come. You'll just end up disappointed if you rely on others. Believe me, I know.
What was that all about?
Please deposit any metallic items you have in the security box. Please deposit any metallic items you have in the security box.